of the season. It was Finn Kratikville who led the way. Great moves being made by Thomas Lukacs in the early stages of the race, but a fall for Tobias Kitzbachler. And then an absolutely thrilling finish to the race. 6 bikes separated by just 0.273 of a second. An absolutely brilliant photo finish in favour of Finn Kratikville, who was just 0.005 of a second ahead of Alessandro Binder. And that would seal the championship in favour of the 14-year-old German, who has had an absolutely stellar rookie year in the Northern Talent Cup, adding on to his accolades in Mini GP across Austria and Germany, and Mini Bike Cup competition in Germany as well. Welcome to the Northern Talent Cup here at Assen, the final round of the 2025 championship, and conditions are better than they were earlier, I have to say, although this one has been declared a wet race. So the riders making their way to the grid now, or the pre-grid, to get a sense of the conditions out there. We are looking at the champion of 2025. The crown was sealed back at Nürburgring. James Hayden alongside me. The conditions here, James, I mean, better than they were earlier. We had to pause running for the British Superbike Championship earlier on, and we've just had the sidecars out as well, which has helped to put a little bit of a dent into the amount of water that's on the track, but still a challenge for these youngsters.
Yeah, very much, and they've got very skinny tyres, but the guys know what they're doing. Full wet, you know, they obviously got full wets, and actually it's kind of a greasy condition now. As you say, the sidecars are very good with their big contact patch, wide tyres for lifting it. But actually, sometimes it can be more awkward in this kind of drying, slippy condition than it is in full wet. So it's going to be an interesting race.
Well, the 2025 champion does line up on the front row of the grid, slap bang in the middle. Second in qualifying for Finn Kratikville. It's Renzo Pontillo, though, a two-time podium finisher this season, who bagged pole position. See, already we're on to the warm-up lap. It's a quick start procedure owing to the slightly tightened schedule that we've had for this day of running here at Assen. So this is the penultimate race of the 2025 season. They will have their finale tomorrow. A lot of questions about where Finn Kratikville will end up next year. Chances are will be in the European Talent Cup. This championship, of course, serving the Central and Northern European Championship. So the championship has been sealed in the favour of Finn Kratikville, but there is still second place up for grabs. Robin Seager, who is the only other race winner this year. Oh, and we've got a faller on the warm-up lap. We've got 2, in fact. So the 33 of Levi Fleer and the 95 of Jalen Corporal, or was it 93, sorry, so Jason Rudolph, that was the Kaifer Racing machine, and you can see they weren't best pleased with each other.
Well, I think it's number 33 that's caused it, judging by the other riders. If we look, we're just going to come through.
Looking towards the rear.
Yes, there you go. So it was just in the back of your picture, and just on the right-hand side. So, but I think it was number 33 rather than number 95, judging by his Oscar-winning performance there of Corporal.
Well, that was a surprise to see
on the warm-up lap as well.
On the warm-up lap, yeah, doesn't tend to go down well, does it? So that means we're going to be down to 24 on the starting grid, which is Lorenzo Pontillo, Finn Kratikville and Thijs Wenzel on the front row of the grid. Then Tobias Kitzbachler, Anina Erlas, Roman Durdis on the second row of the grid. Then it's Swan and Pran, Alessandro Binder and Robin Seager on row 3. Tom Rollin, Valdemir Melgren and Jalen Corporal, Domi Pekkanen, Tamas Lucas and Victor Kesh. Adam Viskasil, Riccardo Verazati and Zeno Bolte on row 6, Tudor Dedea, Anton Eilerson, Roman Nyland, Casper Pennings, Manning van Tilburg. Then there'll be a gap between Levi Fleer and Jason Rudolph's bike, which will leave William Crouch on the back row of the grid, all by himself, in what will now effectively be 24th place. And you see that's caused a bit of confusion, I think, there with one of the riders not quite sure where they were supposed to pull up on the grid. But the green flag waved at the back of the penultimate race of the 2025 Northern Talent Cup season will get underway when the lights go out. Lorenzo Pontillo on pole position on that number 23 machine on the right-hand side of the grid. 2025 champion in the middle. We're underway, and it was a good start by Pontillo, but a good start as well by Kratikville, who draws up alongside. We'll have the inside line already clear before they get into the hard box for the first time of asking. And so it's the 2025 champion who leads the way, taking the lead away from the pole sitter Lorenzo Pontillo, and already building a bit of a gap to Thijs Wenzel, that number 17 machine. Four-time podium finisher this season is Wenzel. They make their way around the first couple of corners, I imagine with a sense of trepidation as well, not fully certain of how much grip there is going to be out there in what it has been very changing conditions.
Yeah, and you've got to be so careful on the white lines, on the curb, especially they've got very narrow little tyres, these small little Honda 250s, so you've got to be careful. You just got to pinch at it, but the guys are, obviously they're used to racing in these sort of conditions. And we just see a little move there by, that was number 38, that was Kitzbüchler.
That same basic machine that we see in the British Talent Cup as well, the Honda NSF 250, but with Pirelli tyres.
Yeah, that's right, exactly the same sort of series. It's obviously the Northern Talent Cup for Northern Europe, and we've got riders represented by 11 countries in this, which is great all over Northern Europe, and it's a very competitive class. Having said that, Kratikville, the man out front, number 8, who's already won the championship. There's been 12 races so far. He's won 10 of them, so he has been superb. The 14-year-old German has really been in a class of his own.
He certainly has been on that Mass Sports by JRP Motorsports run machine. Top 3 breaking away a little bit here.
Yeah, they are. It is, as you say, the conditions have come up, compared to where we are. Oh, look at that! He's using that. You're asking for a bit of trouble. He had to come off the throttle, and because of that, Pontillo just gets back in front.
Yep, so the lead changes hands once again on this first lap, thanks to a little mistake there by Kratikville coming out of the penultimate corner at the Ramshoek and then into the Timmer chicane, and I think we're going to see that moment again on the, here it is. So he just gets out onto the curbing.
And he does well really, but he just has to get out the throttle, and he just allows Lorenzo Pontillo to get it, pull it tight, and he's made her. Well,
he's made use of a couple of corners there.
He has, hasn't he? Went a bit wide there, he was in a bit deep, didn't risk it. It was the right thing to do. Don't try and risk it with all that brake and tuck the front. So he just had to run it wide. As we look a little bit back further through the field, and I think one of the people we've also got to mention in fourth was obviously Erlas. She's done brilliant this year. She's the first girl to actually score a podium, number 21. In this class, she's had 2 seconds, a third, she's been right there, and she's right there in the championship. She was fastest yesterday overall, so she's a very fast young lady.
And she certainly is. 3 podium finishes in the first 3 races of the year. It's fallen away a little bit for her since then, but of course Assen was the venue for the opening meeting of the season, and so maybe being back on familiar turf has helped her find a form again. And
that is her. We just saw her just slip up the inside of one of the riders around her.
Yeah, a real pack in there as well. Kitzbüchler and Tobias Seeger as well. A little bit lower down in qualifying than you might expect for the only other rider other than Finn Kratikville to win a race this year.
Yeah, he's managed his way up to 6th as well from 9th, so he's making some positions. Oh, look at that! Someone's in really hot 2 for 1 there. Who was that? That was
that looked like the 46 of Pekkanen. So, and made up a lot of ground on this lap alone. Was 8th at the start of the lap and is now running in 4th. And Tobias Kitzbüchler has also made his way up into 3rd position as well. So it is about 9 for the lead, covered by 1.7 seconds at the end of lap number 2. Still a familiar face at the front, though. Finn Kratikville making his way to the front ahead of Pontillo at the start of lap number 3.
Yeah, and Pekkanen, he's the fastest man on the track, 156.5.
And 2 in 1 at Struben as well. Oh, incredible stuff from Pekkanen.
I was going to say, he's over a second quicker than the leader. And actually, at the moment, in these conditions, he's just bringing everyone together, isn't it? So we've got a real dice on our hands with that top 9 separated by 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, 156.5 for Pekkanen, and having taken 2 in one corner, though, they're about to lose a spot here to Pontillo, though. So Pontillo, the pole sitter, back up into second position. That is allowing Kratikville to just edge clear ever so slightly. But I'm sure with the slipstreaming capabilities of these machines, he probably won't have it all his own way for very long as Pekkanen moves back through into second place.
Yeah, he does. He's looking good, Pekkanen there. He's the man on the move. He looks very, very confident. He's got a feel for the conditions.
Yeah, certainly very confident in the early stages. Look, he closed up to Kratikville already. And so all of a sudden, that number 46 machine looking very, very good. So clearly the DPR team have found something in the setup, I guess.
You can imagine, he's a Finnish rider, so also he must be used to doing some work. And here he comes. He just waits late, really nice and neat, gets away from the paint, away from the curbs. And then, well, I say that, he just claps a little bit on exit, but it's always safe by then because the bike is pretty much stood up. And then look at this, there's going to be maybe a change for seconds. They come down and you see it.
Oh, that is the pole sitter down, Lorenzo Pontillo at the first corner, and after battling in the early stages of the race, now down at the start of lap number 4.
Yeah, so the rider from Belgium just getting it slightly wrong there. It is awkward condition. Here is the thing. If you look out for number 23 on the outside, it's almost like he just touched the white line. No, it's the white line. You can't do that on the brakes on anything really. It's just he was kind of forced there a little bit. It wasn't entirely his fault, but it's a problem when you get out. And then we're looking at 21 there, and that is the lady we're telling you about, who's up into third now and doing a super job, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff. Great to see Anina Erles fighting for podiums once again. So it is only Pekkanen and Kratikville who are ahead of her at the moment.
And Pekkanen just trying to make the break here, the Finnish rider. He's just trying to make a little pull on Kratikville. So nice little break there from him.
But this is really an astonishing performance from Tomi Pekkanen, 12th in the championship going into this weekend with the best finish of 6th. And all of a sudden, he looks like the most confident rider in the field and still lapping consistently better than anyone else and breaking away from the man who's dominated this season.
And you've got to remember, he was back on the row 5 as well, 13th spot. So what a job he's done.
Absolutely remarkable stuff from young Domi. So the battle behind continues. We'll see, that's Kratikville. Anina Erles just losing third position there temporarily to Kitzbichler, who's back up into third now. The Austrian, who turns 16 tomorrow, so she'll be hoping to round out his 2025 campaign in high spirits. Crashed last time out. We saw in the highlights package at the start of the race. That was going to be a little bit ambitious from Anina Erles there, I think. Yeah,
it was. You can see Kitzbichler, number 38, the man. I was about to say, he looks like he's hungry to get past, and there he goes. So nice little move from him.
Oh, that's the lead. Oh, we were just talking up Tomi Pekkanen, and he's gone down from the lead of the race, a commanding one at that. But that is Tomi Pekkanen who has hit the deck.
And it just shows how treacherous the conditions are.
And he's been told he can't rejoin because of the BSB rules. And
high side just feeds on the throttle, the bike spins and he stops, grips, and over he goes, and he is mad. Look.
Oh my goodness.
So.
Oh, that is obviously a hugely emotional response from Domi, and who can blame him? We were just talking about that would have been by far and away the best performance of his season.
Absolutely. He's 15 years old, 12th in the championship, and he's not had a result anything like that, so you can see his disappointment, bless him.
Well, the long and the short of that is Tobias Kitzbichler now leads the race ahead of Finn Kratikville. Anina Erles up into 3rd position, and then the number 11 of Tobias Seeger, who's come up from 9th position, is now part of, well, let's call this 4 bikes leading in the lead pack.
Yeah, and that man in 4th that you're talking about there, as you say, Seeger, he's been the other really quick man. He's the only other man to win some races this year, isn't he? He's had 2 wins, 2nd, 3 thirds, so he's been a very fast championship man. We're talking about number 11 there, the 4th bike in your picture. So he's just felt his conditions out. He's had to come through from the 3rd row back in 9th, and he's looking pretty good to me.
Certainly is, and Anina Erlas was about to make the move for 2nd place on Finn Kratikville. These two came together back at Oschersleben in the 2nd meeting of the season, and that was Kratikville's only DNF of the season so far, which was one of the 2 races he hasn't won so far this year. The other one he finished 3rd in, and looking still looking good out there at the moment, with Kitzbichler leading the way. And we called it a four bike lead pack. It's confidently more than that now, with Tom Rollin right in there as well, and the number 17 of Thijs Wenzel that started on the front row of the grid, pretty close behind as well. And you can see them squabbling just slightly further back, with Rollin has actually just got past Seeger for 4th position.
Yeah, I don't know whether he made a mistake, because on the previous lap he set the fastest lap of the race, which was about 0.8 of a second quicker than the leaders, but he's just dropped a bit on that lap, as you say. So I just wonder whether he's had a moment or ran in a bit hot somewhere, just to cost himself a little bit of time. And behind him, Wenzel there at number 17. He keeps pushing.
They certainly are. Coming up to half race distance.
Oh, I tell you what, it looks like Kratikville, he was looking like he was just maybe thinking about a move there on your leader, but he thought better of it. And Erlas, again, she's doing a great job in 3rd, and she's certainly not going anywhere yet. She's after another podium.
Oh, big wobble for Erlas.
She just gave a bit of commentator's curse there as she came out, and I think she either hit the white line or a bit too much curb, and you just saw her flick out.
Held on to the place though, so Tom Rollin unable to take advantage on that little wobble there for Anina Erlas.
What happens sometimes, you come out and someone does it in front of you, you hit the throttle off yourself as well, and then come back on. We just have a little look at it here. Look at the 3rd bike in your picture, black and pink, number 21. So she's really trying to concentrate on getting a drive, and she just touches the edge of that white line, and look, it flicks her. Oh, she does well. She does well. That is a big old moment. Feet off the pegs. Look, she hasn't got her foot back on yet. So, yeah.
Interestingly, everyone else has got a white visor. She's still got a black one on.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I will say that.
Well, that's the answer.
Kratikville into the lead, ahead of Kitzbichler. Now that was on that lap, and Rollin does now move through into 3rd position ahead of Erlas, so changing left, right and centre, side by side as well between Wenzel and Seeger for 5th.
Wenzel just slipped past him as well, so he's moved up to 5th now, just demoting Seeger to 6th.
Oh, taking it straight back though.
He does.
On the inside, very nicely done.
Yeah, it does. It just cost him a little bit of time though, that, just taking a few tenths out the pack, and at this point, lap 7 and 12, it's still a long way to go, but you don't really want to be losing too much of the toe. It's so important on these little bikes. God, look at that though. Number Seeger there in the back, just way too wide, all over the curbs, and he had to come out of the throttle. He's lost a lot of time there, just trying a bit too hard. Looks like we've got a move going on for the front.
Oh, no. Not quite into the Timmer chicane there for Kitzbichler. Has to settle back in. Kitzbichler 8th in the championship, but in a good vein of form at the moment, with 3 podium finishes in the last 5 races. 2nd place finishes at that as well, so starting to find his feet in this championship.
Yeah, so they're all much quicker. The conditions now, they're just kind of getting, you can see a little dry line, not a little less damp line is probably the word rather than the dry line, but you can see it in places. They're all coming down into the 55s now, the front guys, all set their fastest lap. Top 4 all set their fastest lap on that last lap, the quickest being 155.2 by Kratikville. and your leader, number 8, but they were all in the low 55s there. So that's the first time we've seen this lead-in just break into the 55s. And that's pretty good from where they were in qualifying.
Rollin now going for second position on Kitzbichler, but Kitzbichler holding his ground and standing very firm in second place there, and again allowing Crattockville to just edge out a little bit further, not by much, but the gap that was less than 0.2 of a second at the start of the lap is much closer to 0.4 now. So Kitzbichler hanging on to second position for now. Anina Erlas waiting to pounce for a podium place. Seeger and Wenzel covered by less than 2 seconds. 6 bikes going for the win here. Remember, it was less than 0.3 covering that same number of bikes at Nürburgring a few weeks ago.
You can see number 38, Kitzbichler, he just feels like he's trying to line up something here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a move up the inside coming into the chicane here.
Crattockville seems to have an awful lot of confidence on the brakes into this chicane, though.
And what he does really nicely is he doesn't come back for a lot. He lingers on the outer curb before coming back, and it just shuts the opportunity off. It makes him swap to the other side. It's quite a clever bit of riding.
We are at 2/3 race distance now, so if there were to be a sudden downpour of rain again, we would be able to call a full result.
Yeah, and Rollin, he's come up, the man in third as well. He's got past Erlas, and you can see she's having a little look, see if she can squeeze through. Can't on that lap, but let's keep an eye. He seems to have just quite easily be reeling these leaders back in. Got a slightly different line there as they come through there. He's much tighter. This is where you've really got to watch the paint coming out, somewhere like that. Harden the power, low gear. It's when it really wants to spin. But the man who's won 10 races already, the champion, number 8, Crattockville, he's looking good out front. But I don't think he's going to win his own way. It's kind of in that part of the race where it's just simmering away, waiting for this last lap or two, and not far off. Everyone's just holding station. They've got their feel for their conditions.
That is certainly true. The confidence seems to be growing lap on lap, and the lap times reflecting that as well, with more personal best set on that previous lap.
Yeah, and actually it was Seeger, the man number 11, that man there. He was the quickest man on that last lap, a 1:55.1, which is the quickest lap of the race. So the conditions are just improving. They're pinching a bit, and just for a good time. They qualified on a 1:46, and 10% is always a good wet time, which would make it about a 1:56. Well, they're at 1:55.1, so they're already under that 10%. I realise it's not soaking wet, but sometimes this can actually be a slower, more tricky condition than full wet. So the guys are doing a good job. We haven't seen too many incidents.
Yeah, I think really it was Pekkanen and Pontillo, really the only major casualties in this one so far. And it's 3 laps to go. Now
we're in the 54s, a 1:54.4 for Crattockville, and just behind him as well, another 1:54. So those first laps we've seen in the 54. So my point is, and that's 0.7 of a second quicker than the previous lap. And you can just see in that section that little groove, that sort of dark line just starting to burst in places, and it does dry quick here. We might have had this weather, but it's still 20-odd degrees and it's humid.
3 laps to go, and Thijs Wenzel has sort of dropped off the back of this train of bikes now. He's 2 seconds back from what is now Anina Erlas, who's been shuffled down to the rear of this leading pack, which now down to 5 machines, with Crattockville trying to break away from Kitzbichler.
Yeah, and he is. You can see he's a man who's used to winning. He hasn't done anything dramatic, but now he's just feeling that groove. He's waited all race for lap 10 of 12, and now he's just pinching. He's just got the first time. It's always been a tenth, if that, and now it looks like he's maybe got 2-3 tenths. He's starting to dangle his foot. You can just see him. He's getting into his groove, and he really is trying to break away at this point. So Kitzbichler, if he wants to stay with him, if he wants a shot at the win, he's going to have to try and pull that back in to enable himself to be in a position to do it. I don't think 3rd, 4th, 5th can now. They look like they're just hanging on with their toenails, as it were. or fingernails rather.
Well, Kitzbühel is a race winner in the Northern Talent Cup, took 2 victories last year, but so far this season it's only been a few second place finishes, been left wanting a little bit, so going for his first win of the season. This is the battle for 11th position, which is currently being led by the number 4 of Casper Pennings. Great battling all the way through the field, and then it is Roman Durdis who's closely following them.
Yeah, number 4, obviously one of the Dutch local hopes. Now back at the front, actually, Kitzbühel looks like he might have just pulled a fraction more back in there. You know, it is.
Top 2 are starting to pull away, though.
Yeah, they are. Just saying, they have stretched that pace. Oh, he's gone in a bit hot there. Oh, that was really close. You saw him have a look.
He's properly having a look over his left shoulder there in the middle of the corner.
Well, what happened? He went in. He came in too hot. He couldn't tip it in where he wanted to. So he knew he was going to have to cut back to square it. So he was having a little check just to see, you know, who was there. Again, another fastest lap of the race. Both the guys did a 1:54.3.
But that's properly closed things up, because look, Rollins gone through into second and Seager very nearly followed him as well. So that little check-up there really held Kitzbühel back down the Wienslang onto the fastest bit of the racetrack, and has allowed Tom Rollins to go through into second.
Yeah, it couldn't have been worse for him, because he just had to come out of the throttle, and on these little machines it's so important to keep your momentum. And actually, when you've come out and you've lost your drive, it just costs you. So it's a tricky little thing, racing these little bikes.
Lap and a half to go, coming up on some traffic as well, which might influence things. Which should be the number 93 machine of Jason Rudolph. Yes, it is. And oh, look at that, Seager trying to get up on the inside. And it's actually Kitzbühel who manages to take advantage. Goes back through into second place ahead of Tom Rollin there. And that's the leader going past the lap traffic there. And the battle for second place is going to have to round up Rudolph as well.
They've hit him just wrong. So this could be ideal for your leader. So it's just held the pack. Kitzbühel obviously got past, as we start the last lap, and it looks like he's just got that little bit of space. But look at this, number 11, Seager, he comes through. And she gets run out. Erlas gets run straight out. That's cost her dearly.
Well, she's out of podium contention now. Finn Kratikville led by nearly 9/10 of a second when he went over the timing line to start this final lap of the race. The question is going to be who is joining him on the podium. And Ina Erlas, with that moment at the hard box, seems to be out of the running now. So it's between Kitzbühel, Seager and Rollin.
Touched the white line there, just got spat out, but he's got back in the throttle. But he might give him an opportunity to pull out before the end for Kitzbühel, number 38. No, he's not, can't quite do it. In fact, it's the other man, it's number 20 of Rollin. He slipped past.
But Kitzbühel coming straight back at him into 7.
It is now. We got half a lap to go. So, and it looks like Seager is just the other man, the only other man to have won this year. We got 2 winners, first and second. But don't count out Kitzbühel, number 38, in third. He is hungry for this too.
Well, one of these 3 is going to be severely disappointed to not finish on the rostrum in this race. But great battling in the closing stages once again of this Northern Talent Cup race.
It is. Now, number 38, we saw him build as we were coming through this last lap and make a pass. But Seager, he's done a great lap this lap. And you can see that dry line really starting to cut through now. I'm not sure he's going to be close enough. I don't think he is.
Well, how much speed has he got through the Ramshoek? Not enough by the looks of it. He looks like he's going to have to settle for third position. Look at the advantage that Finn Kratikville has. Meanwhile, he comes out of the chicane and takes an astonishing 11th victory of the season. And it will be the number 11 of Robin Seager that finishes in second place, with Kitzbühel in third, a faller on the final lap, which is Riccardo Bazzati, the RB Motorsports machine that has had a moment on the final lap. Let's see what's happened. So it's up against Tudor Dedea.
God, I tell you what, he's so lucky he doesn't take out the man in front. He's perfectly okay. Just trying to make that move on the last lap. Too much front brake. Just asked too much of the tire.
Oh, they're still going at it.
That's Didier. He's had a massive moment. It's cost him 2 spots. He was so determined to get on the throttle, and you can see he's gutted with himself, the German rider there on the Tudor Racing Honda.
Well, just managed to sneak over the line in 15th position, and of course that's the rider that Bezzatti very nearly just ran into the back of as well. So the squabbles still happen as the last rider over the line is Van Tilburg.
I tell you what, Kratekville, your winner, the man who's, as you say, won 11 of 13, fastest lap on the last lap, the first man, and only man to get into the 53s, a 153.8. So a really, and again, another fine ride. You can see his class. You know, he didn't panic. He was held up. Yes, he had a fraction of luck with the back marker, but you know, also he timed it. He put himself in that position. So you know, I think he's probably a name to look out for.
What more is there to say about Finn Kratekville? I mean, really, the numbers just speak for themselves. In amongst all of the championships that he's won at least one every single year since 2020 across mini bikes and mini GP and Northern Talent Cup as well. We're very much looking forward to seeing where this young man goes, but let's have a word for the 14-year-old from Saxony. Another super exciting young talent coming through the ranks, coached by Dario Giuseppetti for the Motor Race Academy Germany squad, and Tobias Kitzbichler on the podium, and that number 38 machine. A 4th podium in 6 races for Kitzbichler, a little early 16th birthday present, which he will be celebrating tomorrow. Of course, the Austrian will be hoping to make it a little bit better as he starts coming of age. So some exchanges between the riders on that cool-down lap as well, I'm sure, getting an early indication as to what's gone down and what was a very eventful penultimate race of the season.
Yeah, it was, and it's good to see. I mean, as we say, it's the Northern Europe's version of our British Talent Cup. You know, all on the identical NSF 250Rs. You know, giving about 45 brake horsepower from the single-cylinder 250, and but the difference being just Pirelli tyres rather than Dunlops as well. That's one little thing that's different on that. It's just a little 7-round championship, and it's the first time they've been with BSB. So it's
yes,
yeah, it's nice to see them here in a good little race.
Yeah, both the British and Northern Talent Cups racing together here this weekend in Assen. So fantastic to see as we have the riders making their way into the Parc Fermé area. Tobias Kitzbichler, the first to arrive. Finn Kratekville showing off a little bit, but he's earned that right, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has indeed. He's going to be well chuffed with that. And again, it's just been a really, really dominant season for him. And why wouldn't you enjoy that?
Absolutely cracking stuff once again as Siger also pulls up into the podium spot. Big embrace there with the team. Let's take a look at the results. It's an 11th victory in 13 races for Finn Kratekville. Robin Siger and Tobias Kitzbichler complete the podium with Tom Rollin and Nina Erlas, Thijs Wenzel aboard a great battle ahead of Waldemar Melgren, Alessandro Binder, Adam Viscasil and Swan Empran completing the top 10. Inside the points was also Roman Durdis, Casper Pennings, Thomas Lucas, Zeno Bolte and Tudor De Dea. We saw that fight coming across the timing line in very close proximity out of the Timmer chicane. Anton Eilerson, Ruben Nyland and Will Krolj with Victor Kesch and Manny van Tilburg. The last rider over the line was Rudolph, but as you can see, Robin Siger still holding on to 2nd position in the championship ahead of Thijs Wenzel, and Alessandro Binder with Nina Erlas in 5th position ahead of the final round of the championship tomorrow. Slightly further down the order, Thomas Lucas trying to break inside that top 10, Waldemar Melgren. And Tommy Pekkanen, how different could his championship have looked had he not had that moment while leading the race earlier on? I'm sure he'll be thinking about that one for some time. So some familiar faces in Parc Fermé there as well, taking in some of the Northern Talent Cup action. Big embraces with the team and the entourage for Finn Kratikville. Of course, got to pose for the photos. I'm sure that'll be up on the Instagrams later. I mean, I'm sure at this point he must have so many. Oh, don't pull it apart, Finn. That's the inexperience showing there. He should be a pro at this by now.
I think that's how he wanted it. Without the stand.
Yeah, I'm sure it does look a bit better that way, doesn't it, actually? Well, that just goes to show. That's the reason I've never taken a photo with the #1 board.
One reason.
of many, James. Ah, it's a nice moment there as well.
It's probably his little sister, one imagines.
Yeah. It's yeah, I did get a chance to meet Finn's dad earlier, and get an idea of what's gone into this incredible season for young Finn. Just keeps finding more and more ways to impress us. So they'll make their way over to the podium. And we'll have the trophy ceremonies.
Got some good sponsors as well. Obviously, all Dane Easy, and it doesn't look like they're short of sponsorship. It's good to see.
It's so important for the young riders. I know that Northern Talent Cup does what they can to reduce the costs. Of course, Pirelli have a big involvement in this championship as well, and helping with the costs of things there, which is super important to try and make this as accessible as possible, especially when we're talking about teenage racers and the very early stages of their motor racing careers. And we know that many of the names we see here today will be hopefully reaching the top echelons of the motor racing ladder. Of course, this is the first step on the road to MotoGP. So we will go to the podium shortly, and for the rider number 38 of Tobias Kitzbichler, a fourth visit to the podium in 6 races for him. And there we go, podium ceremony beginning now. There is Tobias, two-time winner from last year, but this season he's been left wanting a little bit. Robin Seager, back-to-back podium finishes for him after a 3rd place finish in race 2 at Nürburgring. But a 7th visit to the rostrum of 2025. And Finn Kratikville, who is on the podium for the 12th time. Only one race this season where he hasn't been on the podium. It's the one he didn't finish. 3rd place trophy eventually going to the right rider.
2 14-year-olds and 1 15-year-old up there. It's
well, that makes me feel awful.
So yeah, that's a result. And actually, it's Kitzbichler's birthday tomorrow, so he turns 16 tomorrow.
Yeah, just been looking out to round out the season in style. Championship is sewn up, so just fighting for wins, fighting for honour.
Yeah, silverware. Yeah.
The German national anthem for Finn Kratikville. Another fantastic race here in Assen. The German national anthem for Finn Kratikville, and a great race once again for the young German. Tomorrow we go again for one final time in 2025. The Northern Talent Cup concludes tomorrow. Race one of the Northern Talent Cup from Assen was a wet start, with Lorenzo Pontillo taking the lead back at the end of the first lap, having initially lost it to Finn Kratikville on the run towards the first corner. Great battling ensued, but it was the Finnish rider Pekkanen who stormed up the order with a performance unlike which we've seen all season from the youngster. Dramas at the Haarbarkt with the pole sitter Lorenzo Pontillo going down the road, having been pushed onto the white line and the curbing. And then dramas as Pekkanen from the lead of the race coming out of Struben, and an absolutely furious young Finn could not believe his luck after a stellar performance. The rest of the riders continue to battle for the lead, with Kitzbühel and Kratikville exchanging places. The win eventually going to Kratikville, an 11th victory of the season.